compensate for all the boring dialogue, the filmmakers decided to put every ounce of levity into probably the worst comedic relief in movie history. Let's say it together now. Olaf, Jar Jar Binks.
Without the midichlorians, life could not exist, and we would have no knowledge of the Force. They continually speak to us, telling us the will of the Force. When you learn to quiet your mind, you'll hear them speaking to you.
I don't understand.
Neither do I, kid. Neither do I. That's what we're here to decide today. Which one was the best? Wait, sorry about that. Okay, so now we're going to decide which Jurassic Park sequel was the best. This guy, he's like that stereotypical military guy who talks with a Texas accent, and he holds his belt up all the time, and he's like, yo, we need to put raptors in the military. Oh my, it's so stupid. His plan is so stupid. He wants to use dinosaurs in the military, starting with raptors and then using genetic hybrids. It's so dumb. Like, why would he spend millions of dollars on raptors when you can literally just use dogs instead? Dogs can do everything that raptors can do, except they are much more dependable, much more loyal, much less dangerous to handle, and way less expensive. Oh, its plan is so stupid. It was just so funny when it was trying to be thrilling, and it doesn't work a lot of the time. It's like watching Sharknado. Yeah, all the superhero stuff is fun too, but it would all be in vain if we weren't so invested in our protagonist. So what we get is a really amazing arc for Peter, but Peter sees all these things he wants, but can't have because he's Spider-Man. So ultimately, he quits. He stops being Spider-Man. But especially in Spider-Man 2, all the minor characters were spectacular, spectacular. Just look at some of these extremely lazy examples of storytelling.
We used to be best buddies, and now we're not. I wish you would tell me why.
Ah, Arendelle, a most mysterious trade partner. Open those gates so I may unlock your secrets and exploit your riches. Did I say that out loud?
Now Elsa's character is confusing. She sings Let It Go, obviously a villain song, yet she's treated like a protagonist. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. These are lines only a villain would say. So picture this. After years of being locked out by her sister, Anna has to take the courage to knock on the door one last time for the good of Arendelle. And here's how that scene plays out.
Knock. Just knock. Why isn't she knocking? Do you think she knows how to knock?
Computer, shut up! Just shut up, you idiot!
But, oh man, Olaf. Ugh. My reaction to Olaf on screen literally came right out of Indiana Jones. The characters in Tangled, on the other hand, were very well realized. Rapunzel had a very unique mix of fear, intrigue, and excitement as she became exposed to the outside world. Flynn was very witty, charming, and well layered. Also, the comedic side characters in Tangled didn't make you... However, Frozen has two songs that are just complete wastes of time. The first is In Summer. It's literally Olaf singing about summer and not knowing that snow melts for 2 minutes straight. You know who else melts? Then there's the troll song Fixer Upper. This is literally and metaphorically trolling. Anna was just struck in the heart by Elsa's ice magic and is going to die, but the trolls insist on singing a song to break any urgency in the plot. Characters are consistent and further developed. the humor didn't make me, well, you know. After he's discovered that the bite of the caught tiger shark doesn't match the bite of the first victim, the fishermen and newspapers still go with the idea that they caught the correct shark. They are fake news. People can be so desperate to believe what they want to, even if science doesn't back up their beliefs. No, bats aren't blind. No, daddy longlegs aren't spiders, and they aren't deadly either. No, velociraptors didn't look like this. No, the 5-second rule doesn't work. And no, peanut butter and jelly is not a good combination. There's good reason to consider Jaws as a cinematic masterpiece and one of the greatest films of all time. Where today, I'll be comparing two Christopher Nolan films to celebrate his latest release, Dunkirk. Not only are they two of the greatest superhero films of all time, but two of the greatest movies of all time. Now some of you may be thinking, where's The Dark Knight Rises? Well, in my opinion, it has nothing on the first two movies. It's pretty good, but not great. Still the third best Batman movie. Well, fourth actually. His lifelong friend Rachel finds out that he wanted to kill Joe, and slaps him. Isn't it odd that she's always in a relationship with her employer? No wonder why she got the job of assistant DA. I'm sure she was hired because of her experience. Also, this may be a stretch, but The Dark Knight does have a bit to say about enhanced interrogation. In The Dark Knight, Batman beats on the Joker to learn where Harvey and Rachel are after they disappeared. It kind of worked. They saved Dent at least. But did Batman go too far in his techniques? The goal of the League of Shadows is to re-establish justice in the world. To achieve their goals, they've sacked Rome, put plague rats on trade ships, and burned London. Whenever a civilization fell to injustice, they made it their job to restore balance. So I'm expecting their return any time now. Any minute now. That was the most brilliant movie I've ever seen. The Emoji Movie gets an A+, a 10 out of 10. The humor is so mind-numbingly childish that it brought me back to when I was 3. Oh, the good years. It was a much simpler time back then. I didn't have to deal with movies that actually try to expand your intellect or make you think or anything stupid like that. Some of those one-liners were so perfect, like, "You're so soft, poop." There are characters that are only supposed to have one emotional state until they learn that it's okay to have different emotions, kind of like Inside Out. Man, just the way the Emoji Movie rips everything off so perfectly. It's like getting a highlight reel of some of the decade's best animations. Why create something new that may or may not appeal to the audience when you can just steal from previous successful movies? It's pure genius. What makes Peter work well in Spider-Man is that we see how nice and respectable he is to others, so we feel for him when he's being bullied or getting the living Shrek beaten out of him by the Goblin. Even the Kents barely get any screen time. Jonathan dies after 2 scenes, and then Clark finds that nonsense crystal. A minute or 2 later, we never see Martha again.
What does that mean? Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name?
Then, the second half of this battle is the Green Goblin just completely pummeling Spider-Man. It's such a gripping and brutal scene. You feel every punch and kick, and you're on the edge of your seat as the hero gets the life beaten out of him. Before I move on, I need to mention his voice. It's so good. It's almost like Batman meets Surfer Dude. The last main character is Cole's girlfriend Trish. She's a doctor burdened by the epidemic in Empire City. Like I previously mentioned, she's upset at Cole for triggering the bomb that killed her sister. Over time, you gain her trust by helping her get supplies and stopping gangs from poisoning the water.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Once finally getting the ray sphere, the player gets to choose whether to destroy it or to reactivate it and become even more powerful. Of course, being the biggest decision in the game. John gets sucked up and dies either way. Poor John, he was just destined to die. Movies like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King are still relatively modern, and the idea of remaking them doesn't seem necessary, unless you're trying to rake in tons of cash. The remake is the 10th highest grossing film of all time, earning $1.2 billion. Holy Shrek! Somewhere in France, a young prince acts like a prick to a sorcerer disguised as an old maid and gets himself and everyone in his castle completely Shrek'd. Over time, Belle and Beast fall in love. Stockholm Syndrome. Everyone thinks that she's weird because she enjoys reading, and she finds more to value in people than how jacked they are, and whether or not they're Adam lost his mom at a young age too, and had to grow up with an abusive father, explaining why he acted like such a jerk. Disappointingly enough, none of this contributes anything to the main story, and I honestly care more about the health effects of eating 4 than 5 dozen eggs every morning, than what happened to their parents. The main theme in Beauty and the Beast is to eat enormous quantities of eggs to get barge-sized muscles. Then there's Emma Watson. I'm sure she's a fine actress, but she was horribly miscast, probably just to appeal to those darn millennials. When she sings, it's so auto-tuned that she sounds like Darth Vader. Actually, let's play a game. Guess whose voice is playing? Watson's or Vader's?
There's something sweet and almost kind, but he was mean and he was coarse and unrefined.
It is your destiny. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Little town, it's a quiet village. Every day, like the one before.
That was hard, I know.